Welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. Joining us today, we have a familiar face, Judy Helcom. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. It's always wonderful when you're on the program. Judy is, of course, a registered nurse, and she is a diabetes educator, retired diabetes educator. But every time you stop in the studio, you always give us something to think about and some good advice to take with us.
Hopefully. And Judy, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the entire community, because we do get excellent feedback from the programs that we do. And sometimes you really wonder if the message gets out. And I have to tell you, it is getting out. So we have to continue doing the shows.
Okay. Judy, on today's program, what did you want to talk about today?
You know, I thought it would be good to focus on prediabetes, because there are a lot of misconceptions about what it is, why it's so important, when does it happen, who does it happen to. So in general, to start out with, why is diabetes such a big deal?
Okay.
Most people think, yesterday I didn't have diabetes, and for some reason today I get diagnosed with it. There are always exceptions to all the rules in this lifetime, but this one says the most common type of diabetes is called type 2. Don't get hung up on the title, but just say, most common type of diabetes takes 7 to 10 years to come on. So none of this overnight I got it. I mean, I'll have a person say to me, I went in for surgery, they did blood work and told me I have diabetes. I said, wow, that's unfortunate, but it didn't just happen overnight. It's been coming on. So the other thing people say to me is, well, if you're going to get something that's going to cause you to die, so it'll be diabetes or it'll be something else. Here's another thing that people don't understand about diabetes. You don't usually die from the diabetes directly. You die from a complication that has arisen from the diabetes, like heart disease, blindness, neuropathy, or nerve damage. So again, people have this sense, well, I'm just going to wait and see, enjoy life, and if I get it, then I'll worry about it. You know, there are consequences to all these choices that we talk about in life, and if you're going to wait for the crisis to come, it may be a little too late to reverse what has happened over that prior 7 to 10 years. My husband is a real good example. Before he was diagnosed with diabetes, about 6 years prior, he started having numbness in his toes. And I said, you got to go get this checked out, because being in the diabetes arena as I was, he goes and gets diagnosed as having nerve damage in his feet. No diabetes, none. No, his blood sugars were terrific.
Okay.
Fast forward 6 years, and over that period of time, little by little, his blood sugars started going up, but it was still in what's called the normal range, okay? When he finally got diagnosed, the doctor said to him, aha, now we know what caused the neuropathy. It was developing the diabetes, now that you've got the diagnosis. And I thought, no.
Shouldn't it be the other way? Yeah.
Right. And so this is another misconception. I have high blood pressure, people say, and I'll say, take care of it, because you're getting older. If you don't take care of controlling the blood pressure, you may be at high risk for getting diabetes as well. So it's all intertwined, but people's minds don't comprehend it that way. It's very difficult sometimes. The other thing is, I say, do you know what your blood sugar is? Oh, I'm sure my doctor ordered it. Okay, do you know what the number is? Nobody said everything's fine. You cannot go by everything's fine. Our normal blood sugar, when you take a fasting blood sugar where you fasted overnight for 8 or 10 hours, should basically be below 100, okay? But if it's 100 to 125 range, now what does the doctor say? The doctor should say you have pre-diabetes. Then the person will say, oh, that means I'm going to get it? Well, if you don't change certain things that we're going to talk about today, very well, there's a 50% chance you will get full-blown diabetes down the road in 10 years if you don't start changing some of your habits. But you see, it's little things like that that people may hear it, and hearing it once, it's gone most of the time. You've got to reinforce it. So sometimes I feel like, why am I repeating myself with this information? Because I'm getting feedback from people which shows that they really didn't get some of what we call the basics.
Okay, pre-diabetes, though, you're telling me if I'm diagnosed with pre-diabetes, that's not a guarantee that I'm going to get diabetes.
Absolutely not.
I thought it was.
Yeah, see, there you go. And not uncommon. But pre-diabetes means that up to the point where you're diagnosed with pre-diabetes, you've been getting blood sugars probably, and the doctor's been telling you everything is fine. But now, and the older we get, little by little, our blood sugar starts to go up a little bit higher. Now, some people, it'll stay in the normal range, even though it's the higher range of normal. But some people go over the 100 mark into the 100 to 125. So then what the doctor should say to you, Judy, God forbid if that was a situation with you, but the doctor should say, aha, your blood sugar is starting to creep up. You are between 100 and 125. Here's what you need to work on. You have got to start working on your weight if you have a weight issue. You have got to start getting some regular type of exercise, okay? And in general, you've got to learn to eat healthier, cutting the portion sizes, etc. But Judy, most of the time that doesn't happen. I have another relative who has pre-diabetes like me, and inevitably when someone will come in and say the question, do you have diabetes? Nope. He never says, I have pre-diabetes. Why? I don't know, because it hasn't hit him yet that this is when he's supposed to be doing something, but he's not. He's older. He said, I want to eat the way I want to eat. I said, but do you want to get diabetes? Well, of course not. Who would ever want to get diabetes? Nobody. But there's a path leading toward that if you are at high risk. So it's...
Don't you think, though, if you're diagnosed with, well, first off, wait, let me step back.
Okay.
The only way to learn if you have pre-diabetes, how do I find out?
The doctor would order a fasting blood sugar after that 8 to 10 hour fast, and then give you the number.
Okay.
And if it's below 100, you're tooling along just fine.
Here's where I see a problem.
Okay. All right.
I see a problem if I'm diagnosed with pre-diabetes.
All right.
My doctor has told me, you have pre-diabetes, here's your number. I feel fine.
Oh.
I have no symptoms.
Yes.
I'm not
exactly.
weak. I don't have numb legs.
Right.
I don't have heart racing. So it's not going to happen to me.
And of course,
there are
those are the words.
no loud symptoms, are there?
Oh my gosh, no. There are no obvious symptoms. Now, if you start developing problems like my husband did with the numbness, that ought to say, oh, wait a minute, better get this checked out a little more closely with the diabetes. But in those 6 years prior to his diagnosis, nobody ever said anything. They could not identify what was causing it. But then when the diagnosis, oh yeah, that's it. Thank you. He could have been doing many different things because his weight had crept up. He was not getting exercise, all the things that are preventative, you see. And in our country right now, there are 53 million people with pre-diabetes.
That's just pre-diabetes.
Pre-diabetes. And what are they doing? tooling along, just thinking everything is hunky-dory. So it's hard to get this kind of message across, because in one respect, when you talk about diabetes, it's scary stuff when you start talking about you don't want to get it because these are the complications. The wall comes up. I don't want to hear about those complications. Well, let's talk about prevention. But let's talk about small ways that you can hopefully prevent diabetes. So that's the tack I'm trying to take right now. But the fasting blood sugar is one way.
Okay.
Okay, so we get a number.
All right.
The other thing that's being used now is a test called hemoglobin A1C. Forget the name. It's just a test that measures over a 3-month period what has your blood sugar been doing on an average. Okay, now that used to only be used for people with diabetes to find out if they were in control. They are now using it for diagnosing diabetes. The number for that result should be between 4 and 6% is normal. Okay, now if you walk in, have that test done, just normal blood test, don't have to fast, and the doctor says, well, it's up a little, it's 6.3. 6.3 is too high. 4 to 6 is normal. You're going closer the root of the diabetes. So they're going to get on your case and say, I notice you have a weight issue. You're telling me you don't exercise. Let's start to really work on that. And people have reversed that number if they get busy. But how do we get them to get busy? That's just it.
Don't you think that they aren't being cautioned enough of what to do? I would assume I could hear a health provider saying, well, you know, your numbers your pre-diabetes, let's keep an eye on that.
That's it. That is exactly what is said.
So again,
right.
I walk away saying, oh, well, I don't have to do anything.
And that's what people do. But here's my contention. As responsible people who are trying to keep ourselves healthy, we have to gain some new information that is not information waiting for the doctor to tell me. Delving into it a little more. I mean, if you have diabetes in your family, which a lot of people do,
yes,
that
they do,
on to get type 2.
Right.
They still insist they are not going to get it, Judy. And I said, okay, here's a piece of paper. Would you sign this form, which would be a guarantee that you're not going to get it? Well, I couldn't do that. Well, why not open your mind to some new ideas? Because don't ever say you don't think you're going to get it. There's no way to guarantee that.
There is no way to guarantee it. But we can work on trying to prevent it.
Absolutely, those small little ways. So the next time, let's say you were making a beverage right now for yourself, and you're saying, okay, coffee, put some sugar in it, or some people use Splenda, whatever, but what if it was a hot chocolate? A normal hot chocolate loaded with lots of sugar, okay? Now, if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, Judy, examples, bread, crackers, pasta, spaghetti, corn, peas, lima beans, those are heavy-duty carbohydrates. Your body responds by sending a message to your pancreas, and it says, ooh, she's eating a lot more carbohydrates than usual. Send her some more insulin. And guess what? Fine, the body tries to do that. You get more insulin, guess what happens? You get hungrier. More hungry than ever because you've got more insulin on. So here you go, dog chasing its tail. So stop that. So if you're a carbohydrate freak, okay, you need to literally look at what you eat or drink in a given day. Regular soda, I mean so much loaded with sugar, all right? What can I do? Drink half a can. Drink water, okay? Drink a diet soda. But there are grades to everything that we can do. But start something today. I don't exercise, okay? But I follow a healthier meal plan because I know that I'm not burning up those extra calories. So even that, there's a way to do something.
And even if you don't exercise, there are ways to exercise without even
there you go,
realizing you're exercising. You don't need a workout, you don't need workout clothing. You don't need to be exactly
all
in a
that
gym.
Stuff. You got it.
There are ways to exercise.
How about in your apartment or your room, walking, just in the room? Some people said try it during a commercial when they're trying to tempt you with food, and do something, anything. All right. Yes,
or even chair exercises. I mean, there are little things that you can do.
There are, Judy, but the missing link is how do we get you to go from where you are with your habits right now, moving forward another step. You've said many times you've made some small changes, and they've been good changes.
Yes.
But what prompted you to make those changes? It wasn't just hearing somebody say something like me, because that message can go right over your head. But you hear something in that message, this makes sense for me. I'm just going to try something different.
You know what? It is education. I'll tell you, it is education. There are so many ways to get educated about prediabetes or diabetes. You've got the internet. You've got brochures everywhere. Here we have the Erie County Diabetes Association.
Exactly. Right.
I personally, I don't know if how far I would be with trying to get healthier if I did not have a horrible health scare and go through cancer.
There you go.
I started doing more research on eating healthy.
Okay.
So this is benefiting me in all aspects of my life now.
But
I'm not perfect, believe me.
Gosh, no.
But I'm learning things. And Judy, yes, sitting here and talking with you has helped me.
And hearing that message
over and over, yes.
But you went beyond the cancer diagnosis and took the healthy eating part of it to heart.
Yes, I did.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not all the time. I can't, no, it's not 100%.
Of course
but I make more healthier choices than not.
There you go. And that is, people say, well, that's not that important. It's huge. It can make such a difference.
It is.
And to follow your blood sugars over time, like getting a copy of your lab results, and little by little, if you're in that pre-diabetes range, my blood sugar used to run 60, 65 in a fasting. You know where it is now?
No, where?
87 to 95. Now, you say, well, it's below 100. What's the problem?
But it went up.
Because over time, it's starting to trend up, okay? So, but people, when you talk about numbers, people do not like to hear those numbers. It's a turnoff, okay? I say there's a couple numbers that are absolute that you've got to know.
They're very, very important.
Oh my gosh.
They're very important. So, all right, how can I prevent diabetes? I mean, for an average viewer who's watching this program who may just be diagnosed with prediabetes or not.
Okay.
How can they help themselves to have their odds be a little bit better that they aren't going to get diabetes?
Okay. Can we put you on the hot seat again
Why not?
a little bit?
You always do.
I've already said
there we go.
I have prediabetes.
Okay.
So, hey,
all right.
I'm not doing everything I'm supposed to be doing.
You go for it, Judy.
Okay. So you just learned. You had a blood test done and the doctor said, Judy, you have prediabetes. Nothing to worry about really, but you certainly don't have a weight issue. Okay. Do you get much exercise? The doctor might say to you. Now, do you get much exercise?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, I
do. So you do walk quite a bit, or do you go to the gym,
and some
do you
cardio.
swim, or, Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, then I say, how are you doing with your eating habits? Would you say that you get an example of all the food groups you should be eating?
No.
Okay, and how about your portions? Do you have any problems with if you like something, you kind of double up on the portion?
I do.
Well, tell me about what kind of carbohydrates. Are you a carbohydrate freak?
Yes, I am.
Oh, like what kind of carbohydrates do you eat?
I love pasta. Oh
Okay,
my
so
gosh,
pasta.
breads. Oh my
Breads,
goodness.
Any kind of bread.
Any kind of bread. I
Do you
love
like pretzels,
breads.
potato chips, or junk foods in
Nothing.
any of those?
No.
Okay,
no, nothing
great.
like that.
And do you like fruits and vegetables?
I like a few vegetables.
A few vegetables, but not too much, huh?
No.
Okay.
And then some fruits.
Exactly. Now, there's carbohydrates in almost everything we eat.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says, I'm cutting out sugar, forget it. There's carbohydrates. But refined carbohydrates, or with added sugar, like a soda pop, okay? Please cut down on the amount.
Okay.
Go for half a can and throw the rest away, or put one of those caps on it and say, I'll catch the rest later. Don't insult your body with carbohydrates, carbohydrates, carbohydrates all the time, because it's just going to keep pumping out more and more insulin.
So what we found is I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I'm close to perfect with everything.
Okay.
I mean, I exercise.
Yes.
You know, and I think I'm eating healthy, but then when she questions me further on my eating habits, I can see where I can improve.
Oh, of course, there's always room. But now, do you have diabetes in your family background, or no at all? I don't remember what you told me.
There's juvenile diabetes in my family.
Okay.
No, I don't have any type 2.
I don't see you going the route of type 2 diabetes, because the weight issue is so critical.
But you still have to watch.
Oh, you do.
still have to be careful.
But I'm saying the people that are walking around putting more and more pounds on don't get the message that their insulin's not going to work as effectively.
Exactly.
They're resistant.
Right.
And so that's not going to help them. So it's got to be small steps, Judy. And everybody's different. You have different weaknesses than I do.
Exactly.
Okay. Don't bring food in the house that is the biggest tempter for yourself. The minute it comes in your house, I don't care how disciplined you are,
right,
you're going to find an excuse to eat it. So, I mean, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of things we could be doing. But you got to take a gut level look at yourself and say, where am I now in the area of my weight, in the area of exercise, and healthy eating in general? And if you got a problem in any of those areas, just take one of them and start doing a little thing.
A little bit at a time.
Yes.
Now, Judy always has some fun stuff for us, and this time she is taking me off of the hot seat, and she's got some questions that she's going to ask our viewers.
Right.
And if you're paying attention, you should have the answer. So what are they, Judy?
Before we lead into that, I just want to tell folks, do not forget about the Erie County Diabetes Association. They've been in this community for 30 years, and they are still not a household term for people to call. So their phone number is 454-0715. The 3 questions to ask yourself right now are, when was my last fasting blood sugar personally? What should the normal result be? And what are the 3 things I need to do to prevent myself from getting diabetes? Now, you should have gotten the answer to all those things in the course of this program. If you're still unsure or need some help, call the Erie County Diabetes Association, please, in the interest of your health.
And also, they have a wonderful website. And
it's www.diabeteserie.org.
Judy, thank you so much for being on the program. And again, I always take something away from our program.
And did it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Is it
always
hard for you to start doing something different?
Not if I take little steps
exactly.
at it. And I think that's the whole bottom line. So, Judy, again, thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
We'll be doing more shows. I always enjoy them. Viewers, again, any questions, please call Erie County Diabetes Association. Thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day.